Hi everyone, and welcome to the eVTOL Insights podcast with me, Jason Pritchard. Every week, I'll be speaking to industry leaders from across the global advanced air mobility market, diving into key topics and getting their insights on the current state of the ecosystem. This episode is sponsored by the Jargon Group, an international award-winning media, marketing and communications business based in the UK. Its transport practice supports a range of companies in the travel and transport sector, including specialists in the aerostructures, interiors and aviation components markets. Head to thejargongroup.com for more information on their services. In this episode, I'm joined by Adam Zayn, a business development professional with a background in exhibitions, conferences, business intelligence, and tech sales. Adam, in particular, is working on the 2025 Dubai Airshow, leading content and special projects, especially around advanced air mobility and drones, helping grow the Advanced Air Mobility Pavilion and conference into key features of the show. eVTOL Insights will be there ourselves, so we're very much looking forward to this conversation. Adam, thank you so much for joining me on the eVTOL Insights podcast.
Thank you very much, Jason. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Excellent. Adam, very much looking forward to this. As I mentioned in the introduction, we're super excited, not just about the air show, but also about how exciting the industry is in the Middle East region as well. So if I could sort of talk to you a little bit more about the show from the beginning and the evolution of it, how then the Dubai Airshow, how has that then evolved over the 5 years, particularly in terms of the focus of future air mobility and eVTOL technologies? The region's a big hub. We see the likes of Joby and Archer being in the region. So how has it evolved over the 5 years, especially with this really big activity in advanced air mobility?
Yeah, absolutely. The Dubai Airshow has definitely evolved over the last 5 years. We're constantly innovating and growing. We introduced our startup Zone Vista, expanded our space pavilion with the support from the UAE Space Agency, and we've actually put a significant focus on advanced air mobility, including eVTOLs, drones, and vertiports. The show now features more networking events, a dedicated exhibition space, conferences aimed specifically at AM and eVTOL technologies. And what kind of began in 2021 as a single AM conference is now a full-fledged AM pavilion, and it will have its own stage as well with informative sessions, and the stages look incredible. So, and we might have some other surprise elements as well. I can't go into much detail, but let's say it's going to be super exciting.
Excellent, Adam. You're keeping us waited with bated breath as to what could be there in November as well. It feels like yesterday since the last Dubai Air Show as well. In terms though of the pivotal moments, then, because there's been a lot in the time for this, but were there some then pivotal moments or trends that have really helped to shape it into the hub for next gen aviation, considering thinking ahead of this year's edition too?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll mention a time which I think everybody knows and has felt, which was 2021, the global pandemic at its peak. We were going to deliver our 2021 show, and many believed that it couldn't happen. And it was during this edition, funny enough, that our AM journey truly began. And we brought in pioneering companies like Lilium, Skyports, began conversations with major stakeholders, including government agencies, companies like Airbus, Boeing. And highlights included like the RTA announcement of air taxi plans in partnership with Joby, Archer's UAE partnership, and most notably, as you are aware, that the UAE royal family actually backed this initiative, confirming that air taxis will fly in Dubai by 2026. And it doesn't get more next gen than eVTOLs. And in few in the industry, actually, there's only a few people that can claim to witness what we are witnessing today, which is really exciting.
Excellent. Thanks ever so much for that, Adam. And then keeping on that topic as well, because the UAE is set to become, as you mentioned there, one of the first countries to launch commercial electric air taxi services. With that in mind, and with the excitement building in that region, then how has that then influenced this year's event planning? Because I can imagine there's so much to talk about. It must be quite difficult to try and fit it all into one show. So how has all the recent milestones influenced this year's planning and the agenda that you've got as well?
It's been a major influence. Interest in the market has obviously grown massively. Initially there were, doubts whether such a futuristic technology is even possible. People used to say, oh, Jetsons, like the cartoon in the sky. But, there were regulatory challenges, investment requirements, safety considerations, infrastructure needs, and it seemed like a distant dream. But in the last 5 years, we have moved from the concept to actual flight tests, as you may have seen, with Archer and Joby in the UAE. And sustainable aviation is actually a key theme for us as well, very central to our show. We have a dedicated 2-day sustainability conference, and green initiatives are actually promoted across the event.
Excellent. It sounds like a really super program as well, Adam. So credit to you and the team for putting this all together as well. We're very much looking forward to seeing what will be happening over that week as well. And I guess sticking on with the UAE as well, are you able to share then, what are those regulatory milestones that have enabled the UAE to take the global lead in eVTOLs and AAM? Again, our audience, they're fairly new to this industry. We've got some that eat, sleep, breathe eVTOLs and AAM, but those that are sometimes not as clued up, not reading as much because there is so much happening as well. So were there any sort of regulatory milestones that you feel or you've seen that have really helped the UAE to take that global lead too?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the UAE's commitment to launching electric air taxi services by 2026 has basically been a massive game changer. They accelerated progress across the whole AM ecosystem, from strategic investments in vertiport development to mapped air corridors to pioneering regulations. Over the past decade, the UAE has developed tailored AM regulations under the civil aviation regulations, covering drones, vertiports, and much more. And there's collaboration between key stakeholders like GCAA and Advanced Technology Research Council, TI and Aspire, that have led to mapped urban air corridors with complete regulatory frameworks expected within the next, let's say, 2 years. And also, there's a lot of strategic alliances as well. So you've seen with Archer, Joby, Skyports, EHang, even operators, Falcon Aviation, JetX, this has all kind of accelerated the infrastructure, the testing, the certification process, and the coordinated ecosystem of the regulation, investment, and industry engagement has kind of positioned UAE as the world leader in electric aviation readiness. So I'd say, to be honest with you, when you say key milestones, I think the biggest has been the government giving it the go-ahead. The royal family was at the forefront. They've said, let's make it happen. Since then, it kind of really, really took speed. And, the Dubai Airshow, as a result, Dubai Airshow 2025 will host a powerful lineup of these AM innovators, from established OEMs to disruptive startups.
Excellent. Adam, thanks ever so much for that as well. You've mentioned some really big companies in your previous answer and already in this podcast as well. But without wanting to reveal your cards, so to speak, what kind of presence can we expect from those key players in the eVTOL and AAM industry at this year's show? Because you mentioned the conference looks like it's a really strong agenda, but can you reveal any details as to who we might expect at this show?
Absolutely. So look, it's an ongoing process. As you know, the show is in November, so we constantly have new companies joining us. But I can tell you that Dubai Airshow 2025 will host a powerful lineup of AM innovators, from established OEMs to disruptive startups. That includes, Archer with their Midnight aircraft, includes Joby, and includes Autocraft, alongside drone companies like Enan and Flightwin. And expect, both static and flying eVTOL displays maybe. Can't go into much detail, but let's just say that, Dubai is working on something spectacular. Immersive tech demonstrations. It's going to have networking opportunities and the dedicated AM conference, as you mentioned. And within this conference, we also see new companies join us as well. So we have Transfusion Aviation, Sarla Aviation from new countries as well, like China and India, and obviously alongside other key established companies like Joby and Archer. And as I said, both the program and the AM Pavilion is constantly growing, so you can expect more key companies to join us. And the message to the world is very clear from when it comes to us. Regulation, safety, and innovation can't coexist, and the UAE is setting that global benchmark.
Very exciting as well, Adam. And I think with the Dubai Airshow, what's really exciting for me personally is we've been covering this space for 5 to 6 years now, and it's always built up to this moment of when will we see, an electric air taxi flying and in the flying display as well. We saw it at the Paris Air Show. I know Beta Technologies flew their electric aircraft. And I think what was great to see is that the public were just absolutely blown away by electric aviation and how quiet it is compared to the normal jet engines of the helicopters and aircraft as well. I think what's really exciting, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well, Adam, is Dubai Airshow, certainly this year, is really on the cusp of something really special. And I know you can't go into too much detail as well, but it must fill you and the team with great pride and excitement that it could be, Dubai could be the real big show where things are happening and people can actually see it. We all talk about seeing it on a bit of paper and reading it as well, but to see it in real life and in person, I think is the magic of this industry as well. So how do you feel gearing that with everything we've talked about, the UAE being that global leader in eVTOL and AAM, to have that at the air show? I mean, that must be something really exciting to be working on, knowing that maybe in the next 2 years, so in 2027, that it could be even further down the road as well. How does that make you feel with everything you've worked on when it comes to advanced air mobility and eVTOLs? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
You made me take a deep breath. Listening to you ask that question, it brings a lot of emotion as well, because there's a huge responsibility. This is not just a air show for us. We represent the Middle East. We represent the UAE. It's a responsibility. And then if you look at, for example, you mentioned Paris Air Show and Beta Flying, and we're cheering from the sidelines. What we want to do is we want to make something spectacular. The UAE is putting all this effort. They're going through investments. They're trying to create this regulatory framework, working on, gun blazing, 100%. And, we want to showcase that. And what better to show our partnerships with Archer and Joby. And, a lot of people that attend events, they come in and they have a great show. And from a kind of bird's eye, it kind of looks like, a great event. But what people don't understand is the kind of effort that goes into it, not just from myself, the whole team, our marketing team, our operations team, our project management team, our business development team. Every single person in this company is involved in making this happen. And for me, it's a pleasure. It's a legacy. I love the fact that I'm also contributing. And together we will achieve something which is fantastic. You mentioned earlier that we're on the cusp of something incredible. And that is what we want. I want everyone who comes to the show, who attends our show, walks in through those doors and walk out and say, you know what? That is the best air show that we've ever seen. And the beauty of the matter is that for the next edition, 2027, we will do our best to make it even more spectacular. But this year is very special to us. And yeah, so that's all I can say on this matter. And when it comes to watching something in this industry, as you know, in aviation industry, when we talk about disruption and we talk about new technologies, of course, we see many different things happening. It's very rare to see something develop from a concept and happening in front of you. And eventually, like you said, this is sustainable. Has less noise. It's gonna make a difference to people's lives. We're talking about reducing traffic time. We're talking about making the journey easier for cities across the world. I mean, when have you ever seen something like that happen in such a short amount of time? And that can cause such a beautiful disruption. So, I'd say, it was patience, but it was beautiful patience. And there is results. And there's beautiful results. And hopefully in 2025, we can showcase some of that.
Very wisely said as well, Adam. And I really like your thoughts on kind of the spectacular air show as well. And I think that, in a way, will really stem how people get excited with the air show too. Because wouldn't it be great, and echo your thoughts as well, is people come away from Dubai with those memories of what happened, and they will stick with them to say that we were there when it happened. That for me, that's the great thing to think about, is that, were you at the air show in 2025 when this happened, or when that happened? So I think that's the exciting bit that I'm looking forward to as well. So really appreciate your honesty and your words in there as well, Adam. But if we could just move on with the air show then as well. So for those of you of the audience who aren't aware, the air show itself in Dubai from November the 17th to the 21st, 2025. Adam, what are then the key themes or focus areas for the 2025 edition? I know it changes constantly. I kind of know maybe what the themes are, but are you able to go in a little bit more detail then for this year's edition as we start to whet people's appetites of what they can expect?
Absolutely. So 2025 edition will probably be our most ambitious yet. It's built around the key theme, the future is here, which is quite suitable for AM as well. And we will spotlight advanced air mobility, sustainable aviation, the commercialization of space, MRO innovation, airline and airport advancements, workforce development for next generation. There's a whole host of features. We have Vista, or startup zone. We've got Next Gen, or inspiration zone, which is kind of bring industry and academia together. And we've also expanded with additional space. So we've got a dedicated area for advanced air mobility, and we have another one for startups and future tech as well as space. And this allows us to allowing for breakthrough innovations and more exhibitors to come through. And the conference program is also another spectacular part of this. We've got 12 curated tracks across 4 stages, and obviously AM is going to be one of those tracks on our aviation mobility stage. What we also want to do is it's not just enough. We are kind of greedy, Jason. We don't want you to come to the show and have a fantastic 5 days just at the show. We want to offer more. So apart from the daytime activities where we want you to have obviously your business results, so we also, as I said, want you to have a fantastic week outside of the show. So we've got a few different features happening across the week. On Monday, we have our exhibitor party. On Tuesday, we've got Airshow After Dark. This is the first time the static will be open till late outside of show hours. So you'll see the aircrafts lined up and people holding receptions. With a drone show happening as well, which is first time. So you'll see a beautiful drone show light up the sky above the static. Some of these are exclusive invitation only. And then we have Dubai Airports, again, which is our invitation only gala dinner for key stakeholders, but includes obviously our exhibitors as well, and conference sponsors. Past acts, have included top draws like Maroon 5, Jennifer Lopez, and this year we're excited to announce that Teddy Swims is going to be performing live at the gala dinner. And then, so I'd say there's a lot of plans, a lot of key activities happening throughout the week.
Excellent, Adam. Well, it seems like it's a bumper program, and what I like with these air shows as well is there is a lot going on. But I think also is given the delegates that opportunities to do those dinners. I really like the idea of the drone show and sort of the exhibitors after dark as well, because these air shows are huge, and trying to get round in one fell swoop to do everything, I know, is absolutely impossible to some extent. So I really like the way it's going, and I very much look forward to seeing all this in person when we're there in November as well. In terms of then the sort of with what's going on with the rapid pace of innovation in electric and autonomous aviation, I'd love to get your thoughts on how that the show is adapting to that pace, particularly through, as you mentioned, first-time exhibitors, that dedicated programming on eVTOL and urban air mobility. There's a lot of really key technologies that are flying around at the moment, literally. How is the show adapting to that rapid pace?
Yeah, I mean, look, absolutely. So the first thing is, we as a team, we strive to make it exciting, making the show exciting. But then we also want to add value for our delegations that are attending, exhibitors, any stakeholders that are taking part. So typically, we obviously have the exhibition, we have the content. Aside from that, we have a fantastic delegations program. So, these air shows, they have some very big names that come through those doors. All across different sectors. You can imagine it's actually the whole aviation ecosystem, right? So you've got the different areas that we mentioned, like space, aviation, commercial aviation, business aviation. The list is endless. So we have a fantastic delegations program that takes high-profile delegations around. The royal family is involved as well. We have a royal family pavilion. So different individuals from the royal family, such as His Highness, would basically walk the show floor, meet with exhibitors as well, which is exciting. Aside from that, we have added some new features. So we have a CXO gathering behind closed doors. We're also trying to do strategic gatherings for each individual sector. So our focus has been to kind of focus on increasing the networking opportunities. Each conference at the end of the day, they've got an opportunity to network as well. So that's how we're adapting. So what we want to do is add more touch points between the delegates that visit. And then we also try to do our best as well in terms of, we've got our own matchmaking platform where people can register and message each other to set up one-to-one meetings over the 5 days. So I guess the answer to your question is not just one answer. We look at all different parts of the show, and then we see, okay, how can we improve this? Some of the features I mentioned to you, like Airshow After Dark or Party on the Runway, which is happening at Skydive Dubai. These are cool initiatives, and these are for people who are attending. We want you guys to have maximum interaction, and every company, of course, has ROI or objectives that they want to achieve at the Dubai Airshow, and this is what with all our features, this is our key focus. And big shout out to our MD Tim Hawes. He always wants to create a great customer experience for everyone getting involved, and he's in line with my own mentality as well. We try to aim big. We try to, for us, nothing is impossible. We try to push the boundaries. So saying that, I think, these new features, everything that we talked about, I think they kind of all contribute to what you're asking.
Excellent. Well, thanks ever so much for that, Adam. Great to see. It's always pushing the boundaries with what can be achieved as well. So if I can look ahead then, global collaboration, I think what I really like with the Dubai Airshow is it's strategically placed for sort of businesses from Europe, sort of parts of the Middle East, but also parts of Asia as well. So it's a real middle ground for all those collaboration as well. So are you able to again share a little bit more about those, the role then that the Dubai Airshow is playing in fostering those international collaborations, but also the investment side of it? We see some big deals being done at these air shows. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the role that the Dubai Airshow is playing in those, fostering those relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, this is not a regional event. This is an international event. So we have companies coming across the world from different regions. We understand, obviously, that these companies have worked hard and some have seen great success. Others have faced challenges. So obviously, what we want to do is provide them with a platform where they can showcase, connect, and grow. The Dubai Airshow is not just an event. We're very well connected in the Middle East region and internationally. And what we try to do is, as you mentioned, we try to bring all key elements together. So the delegations program will bring key decision makers, like we talked about, internationally. Then we have, our startup area, which one of the things that we're really focusing on is bringing more VCs and investors to the show. Let's look at, for example, Joby and Archer. So obviously the conversation today is about AM, but they started as startups, both of them doing fantastically well beyond expectations. Of course, there's some companies that have struggled as well, but that's the name of the game. Some succeed and some are still in that journey of succeeding. So, investment, strategic opportunities, these are all very important to us. We have key stakeholders coming from the UAE, for example, around the world. Let's talk about the UAE, Mubadala, for example, or Savvy or Adio, and they want to meet with these companies. So to answer your question, it's through these delegations, it's through collaboration, it's through providing this platform. I think bringing in the right people. That's how we basically grow this event, and that's how we basically deliver on global collaboration. You have to connect, right? And you have to showcase. And this is essentially what we're doing.
Perfect. No, thanks ever so much for that, Adam, too. And I guess if we could stick with the Middle East itself as well, I think it's going to get really exciting, perhaps the end of this decade into the next decade as well. But in your view, Adam, with all the things you're working on at the air show for Dubai, how do you see the Middle East position itself in the advanced air mobility market over the next 5 to 10 years? I'd love to hear what you think the outlook will look like, maybe when we're having this conversation in a few years' time.
Absolutely. Look, I would love to give you my own personal thoughts together with the kind of business view I have of this region. I've lived across different continents. I've been in different countries, and really, it's really, really mind-blowing how progressive and advanced the Middle East is. If you come to Dubai, you'll see like they really push. And you come to the UAE, you come to Abu Dhabi, and Saudi Arabia. Obviously, massive investments going there. But the point is that they push technology, they push innovation. They're at the forefront. If you talk about any sectors around the world, what sector are they not involved in? What sectors are they not trying to grow? And where they see an opportunity, and they will push for it. And AM is a prime example. 6-7 years ago, we had conversations, and people were saying that, yeah, sure, we've been to the UAE, we've had some key discussions. Is it going to move along as much as, let's say, the other cities around the world, in Europe and the US? Fast forward, look at us now. In the last 5 years, really, who is at the forefront? Air taxis are going to fly. And when they fly, what cities are they going to fly in? And you will see that it will be the Middle East. And I'm very excited because AM is just one part of it. They're at the forefront of all innovation, and they're putting investment in. Not just that, they're setting up the infrastructure. They're focusing on the next generation Middle East citizens. They're pushing education. They're pushing universities. They're pushing university projects. You name it. So it's very exciting for me to see, and I believe that in the next 10 years, when anybody will say, there are leaders in these sectors, I believe that countries from the Middle East will come up first. Obviously, I'm based out of the UAE. It has a special place in my heart, and I believe that UAE will be a name in that conversation. One of the top names, if not the top name. So yeah, for me, it's very exciting because it's rare to see a whole region focusing on the GCC, focusing on incredible growth, and they do it. And you can, it's not easy. You can't. Well, part of obviously the metrics is success, right? And they've been very successful. So yeah, very excited personally for the show as well. And I think that in 10 years' time, when we have that conversation, I think you will say as well, spectacular work coming out of the Middle East. They've actually achieved more than what I expected. I think that's going to be not just you, not just me, everyone globally.
Very wise words as well, Adam. And I really like the way you put it as well in terms of not just advanced air mobility, because I think it can be quite easy to focus, as of course with eVTOL Insights, and we focus very much on this market, but you're very right in saying that there's a whole host of other sectors of which the UAE and the Middle East, for that matter, are really pushing the boundaries. We've seen the growth of cities like Abu Dhabi and Dubai in the last 10 years, 15 years, to see where they are now. For example, like the Burj Al Khalifa, these architectural marvels that are really, everyone's sort of looking at it and seeing how incredible the technology is that as well. So I think it's as well as advanced mobility, which is really exciting. There is a whole host, and I agree with you, whole host of other sectors that are just going to be influential in really bringing the UAE and the Middle East region to be one of those a region where everyone can look at and behold as well. So very exciting stuff. Now, we've covered a lot already, Adam, so I really do appreciate your time talking to us about the air show as well. But before we could go to the personal reflections and a bit of final thoughts from you as well, what would you then say has been the most rewarding or even the most surprising part of organising the Dubai Airshow, especially as it is expanding into these new aviation frontiers? Love to hear your thoughts on this.
I'll do better than that. I'll answer both those things. I'd say two things are very rewarding as part of my job. My team, who I work with, and then my clients. What I love about my team, and I say my team because really I do feel that my colleagues, we're one family, and they accept me for who I am. I'm unique in my own ways. They allow me to perform my best, and and we have a real fun environment around us. We do fun things like beach cleanups. I know you would say that's not fun, but we're we're helping the environment, and we have a good laugh along the way. We plant mangroves, and they also really know how to enjoy themselves. They party hard, and I'm sitting there as well with my Heineken Zeros, and they're not like some of the people in the team. We're very close. We have a very strong relationship. We worked together for 5 years, and we're always in touch and hanging around, and we discuss things that are important in our lives as well. And even my colleagues who have left the company, I have a very good relationship with them as well. So I'd say that's been very rewarding for me. The other thing is my clients, because for me, how I operate, and I shouldn't really talk about this myself. It'd be nice for you to hear this from my own clients, but for me, they're very important, Jason, because I get to know the companies, the challenges, their dreams, their ambition, what they want to do, and what they want to achieve. And sometimes, if you're in the startup stage, you have this big dream. You need people who believe in you. I'm not saying obviously that my belief in them is what makes them spectacular. No, but support in any way. Support their journey. If that is what they believe, and they believe strongly they can achieve those results, then you should be supporting them. And I think even Dubai, UAE as a whole has that. They kind of do that, generally speaking. But me personally, I personally do this. And just as an example, there's a startup, and in the last year and a half, they've had a very difficult time, a tough journey. But we talked about everything. We talk about their life. We talk about, their struggles, and they lean to me on support as well. And this, don't forget that this is a business relationship, but I value, and one thing I really want for them and all my clients is I want them to achieve the best ROI for them when it comes to this show. Whether you're attending, whether you're exhibiting, whether you're speaking in the conference, for me, like, what I want for you is the best outcome. And that is what I try to do. So, they can call me anytime, they can WhatsApp me anytime. Um, Even some companies that are no longer there, like Lilium, I had an excellent relationship with them. And, we work closely, very together. And the funny thing about I know I'm kind of sidetracking here, but one thing I want to mention about the AM industry, which I really found cool and nice, is that when they were going through a difficult time, they were actually rooting for them. So many companies said to me, we want Lilium to succeed. They're pioneers. We want them to be successful. And that was beautiful, and that's what I want as well. I want people to be successful and want them to have a great experience. And sometimes if that ever doesn't happen, and to touch wood, it's always happened with me, but, I will strive for the best outcome for them. So, I'm in their corner, I'm fighting alongside them. And I'd say to you, in terms of surprising element, was my first air show, because when I came in, it was my first air show, and people said to me, and this is, we're talking about back in 2021, and everybody said to me, hey man, you're not going to understand what an air show is unless you show up on site. And honestly, Jason, for anyone out there who's not visited Dubai Airshow or any air shows, it's an amazing experience, especially Dubai Airshow. And the reason I say that is our exhibition hall is connected to the static. So you will see like people going around inside the hall to outside, vice versa. Super busy, super packed. Then when you come from inside of the hall, where you have these fantastic stands, and some of them are like groundbreaking. They always bring new stuff in the exhibition, and you will see in the AM Pavilion, it's going to be super exciting as well. Like, people have talked stand design with me. They're talking about something that people have never seen before. So then you go out onto the static, and then you see all these aircrafts lined up, commercial jets. You see, the defense industry. You see, for example, helicopters. And now you're beginning to see eVTOLs as well, all lined up. It's an amazing sight. And for myself, I'll tell you that we obviously come to the show very early in the morning. It's that ride like into the venue, coming on, leaving the car, feeling the fresh air, and, it's quiet. There's no noise at the time. Just you seeing the kind of the shell of the show. And then you walk through the hall, you go out to the static. There's a beautiful freshness in the air. The sun is it's not very hot at the time. To be honest with you, November is a great time. It's pleasant, generally speaking. But the sun is not at its peak. And the first sunlight is hitting you as well. That moment in the static, and you can smell like, the aircraft's there. Everything looks so amazing, and it's about to kick off. And for me, I think that is a special moment. And every other year, when we come to the Dubai Airshow, it's the same feeling all over again. So I'd say that's been the most surprising part, because I worked across many different industries, but to see something so spectacular with my own eyes is a unique experience.
Excellent. Well, Adam, thank you ever so much for sharing that with us as well. You've really sold the Dubai Airshow to our audience as well. And I guess the final things I wanted to add to you as well, really, is what would then, if you could sum up the 2025 show in 3 words, what would they be? And then secondly, if our audience is still debating on whether they want to come to the air show, or trying to sort of, if you've already convinced them, as I'm sure you have with our podcast, what's the best way for them to register for the event and sign up? So two ending bits for our podcast. If you could sum up the show in 3 words, what 3 words would they be? And where can our audience go to find out more information and, of course, register tickets to attend?
Sure. It's funny when you said that. I had words just flying into me. Amazing, visionary. But I think the 3 words I would describe the air show would be transformative, unmissable, and fire.
Excellent. No, very, very good words to describe it as well, Adam. And then, so is there a website that people can go to find out more information, or if they wanted to sort of attend themselves? Is there any final information we can share with our audience before we finish?
Yes, sure, absolutely. So you can go onto the website, which is www.dubaiairshow.aero. So DUBAIAIRSHO.AERO. Registration is open, and you can register online. And what I would say to the audience, Jason, is that if you're debating if you should come to Dubai or not, Dubai is a fantastic place as it is. You're gonna have fantastic weather. It's the food is amazing. Amazing. You got different cultures. But then if we talk about the Dubai Air Show, as I mentioned to you, our team is dedicated to the success of this event. But more importantly, we want you to have a great time. So give us that chance. Give us this opportunity to come and see us, come and meet us, come and visit us, come and enjoy the show. We also have Skyview, which is our for the public here in the region, and we will make all parts of the show as exciting as we can. And we want your feedback too. Come and tell us what your thoughts are. Tell us what you enjoyed. Tell us what you loved. Tell us what you would love to see. And I promise you that we will work towards achieving those things for you. So I hope to see you in Dubai 2025. And I will, since this is all dedicated to obviously AAM, in terms of AAM, what I believe is this is going to be a standout event. This is going to be an event that people will talk about for the next few years. The echoes of 2025 will go far beyond 2025. And I hope that you will come to see something spectacular, something that people were unsure of whether it would happen or not, something that you might have seen before, but not in this type of capacity, because the leading companies are here in the UAE. The leading companies are involved in our show. And I promise you that if you come to 2025, you're going to see something spectacular, especially when it comes to advanced air mobility.
Excellent, Adam. Well, very, very good words to finish off our podcast as well. Thank you ever so much for sharing with our audience a little bit more of what you've got planned for the 2025 Dubai Air Show as well. I will certainly be there with my team at eVTOL Insights, so very much hope we can meet in person at the Air Show too. But continue the great work leading up to November, and thank you ever so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you so much, Jason. I look forward to treating you something nice. It will be my hospitality. You're welcome, and I look forward to meeting you and seeing you at the show.
That's all we've got time for this week. Thanks so much for listening. eVTOL Insights is always on the lookout for new guests to join us for an episode. If you'd like to be considered in future, we'd love to hear from you. Please send an email to editorial@evtolinsights.com. Thank you, and I hope you can join us again soon. Goodbye.